Okay, we're going to start. Okay, today's class is anonymous for the Parnasa Shidduch and Fush Lema for David Ben Ela. Anonymous for the Sefer Torah 3 Israeli journalists Israel Ben Simcha, David Ben Miriam, Noam Ben Shimshon Gilav, and they have been detained in Nigeria to return swiftly and safely back to Eretz Yisrael. Arthur Lax would like to dedicate this class to Fush Lema of Yerachmiel Dienu Ben Tova Basha and Leunishmat Yitzhak Ben Yekutel HaKohen Zal, who's 101, and your check was last week. Is the sound good in the Facebook world? Does the sound good? Just want to make sure. We've had a lot of issues with sound. Good? Sounds good? Okay, great. All right, we have a phenomenal. Today's class is also in Fushlam Yerachmiel Dienu Ben Tova Basha, success of Elisheva Ben Ava, Gedale Ben Elisheva, Shef Ben Elisheva, Em Ben Elisheva, and Reina Malka but Tova Basha. All right, we have a great topic today. Today is the power of desire. I can't express to you how important this topic is. You could see in what 2020, 2021 has done to a lot of people. It's knocked out the flame. The desire is gone. People have lost their steam. You would figure, when the synagogues were closing, when they opened up, you'd figure people would run back in there. But you could see it didn't happen. It didn't happen. Many times people lost the desire. So what we need to do is we need to get it back. It's very, very important to get that desire back. Unfortunately, we've lost. You listen to a couple, and they're going through a shalom bayit situation, and the first thing you ask them, do you both want to make it work? If the answer is yes, you have a shot. If one says no, what are you going to do? There's no will, there's no way. So Reb Nachman's telling us today that the key to achieving everything, it's not the trophy, it's the desire to get to the trophy. That's what makes it happen. I can't tell you how much time I've personally spent in darkness myself when I was trying to hit spiritual goals and I couldn't hit them. But when you recognize that those times of darkness, those are the times to build desire. Those are not times to quit. When you feel like giving up on life, that's the time you need to turn it up. Anytime you feel like giving up in life, or anytime you feel like giving up on something, you have to do the complete opposite. You need to turn it up. And we have to recognize Reb Nachman's going to tell us a very, very important line. And he's going to tell us that the purpose of the obstacles are to increase desire. That's the only reason why we hit obstacles. If we recognize that, we start getting hungrier and stop checking out. And this is something that's happening. And this class is not an easy class. Because I know a lot of people, they've lost the desire, they lost the flame, they've lost the will. They've checked out. Life became too difficult. They have nothing left. There's nothing left. And God forbid, we're going to talk about something very important, that if you don't desire your Creator is going to desire you. And we don't want that. It's like a guy's running away from the cops. If he turns himself in, the sentence is much better. But when he keeps on running, the sentence is much higher. And Reb Nachman tells us this exactly. This is not meant to scare you, God forbid, or anything. That's not my intention. My intention is, your Creator has high expectations from you and high warmth. You can't be a mediocre person when you have an infinite soul. You can't be a mediocre person. It's against every principle of your life. To have anything mediocre in your life it's against every principle when you have a soul made of the infinite. And you need to understand that. And this is why the wake-up calls, the midlife crises, the addictions, the crashes that people are going through, is because what happened? We stopped looking for our Creator. Our Creator came looking for us. If you understand that purpose, you would understand, wow, what an unbelievable Father I have. He has not given up on me. Even if I have given up on Him, He has not given up on me. That should give you a tremendous amount of comfort. There should be no anxiety if you have that mindset. That means anytime we don't go after Him, He comes looking for us. I hate to make it that simple. Reb Nathan says this exactly. He says, when we develop ourselves great longing and yearning for God, it produces a corresponding yearning. We speak about the law of attraction a lot. The law of attraction is whatever you attract, whatever you're seeking is seeking you. This is a very spiritual term. Whatever you're seeking, is seeking you at all times. Unfortunately, that works the opposite also. It works good and it also works the other way. You could seek things that are not good for you. You're going to get them too. Reb Nachman says, when we develop ourselves our great longing and yearning for God, it produces a corresponding yearning on His part. The process facilitates a spiritual unification between the Knesset Yisrael and God. It makes a union. And he says, Reb Nachman explains that the holy yearnings for God is the aspect of a female, where the corresponding heavenly responds to the yearning. So basically, there's a pasuk that says if a person has relationships with his wife and he makes her happy, she gives birth to a boy. But if he has relations with his wife and he's the one that goes first, he gets a girl. A boy's judgment, chesed. That means you're coming back willingly. The female is more of a din. You're coming back from inspiration or desperation. That comes from din. So either way, one way or another, you're coming back to your Creator, whether you like it or not. Yearning can't go away. Your Creator will never stop looking for you, no matter what's going to happen. No matter where you are, what you have in your head. Even our Creator's yearning for this lady in this show, Unorthodox. He's yearning for her too. No matter what, doesn't stop. She could put on the whole show of how much she's running away from Hashem. Hashem's yearning for her. Yearning does not stop. The thing is, we don't want to be the one getting. I'd rather yearn myself than have my Creator yearn for me. This is why we have to get comfortable being uncomfortable. Because I'd rather make the move first in life than have the move made be for me. Because usually, unfortunately, if the yearning comes from our Creator, the yearning comes from judgment, it comes from din, it comes from heartache, it comes from, unfortunately, not what you expected. This is why people say, this is not what I expected. Well, what did you expect? An invitation in the mail? What did you expect? So your Creator never gives up on you. And you could see many times you hear the same story all the time. I was living in South Beach and all of a sudden this happened, immigration came, I almost got arrested, next thing you know I started keeping Shabbat. Or I was going out with this girl, she wasn't Jewish, and this happened, and next thing you know, God made America. You always hear these stories. Where are these stories coming from? Right? Where are these stories? Dr. Seuss, where are they coming from? It's coming from your Creator's yearning for him. Creator, believe me, I didn't yearn for my Creator when I was 21. He yearned for me. Through a gambling addiction and losing $1 million in gambling. That's the way he got my attention. So you shouldn't take it so personal when you have hard problems in life and when you have hardship in life. You should say, wow, my Creator's not giving up on me. What an unbelievable, what kindness. The worst thing is to have a parent that's cold or a Creator that doesn't care about you. And no matter what, he leaves you alone. It's the worst relationship. The best relationship, yes, he has so much warmth, and he's not giving up on me. This is something we need to understand specifically as we're building our Beit HaMikdash. But we can't lose our yearning. We can't lose our desire to our Creator. No matter where you are in your life, you cannot lose that spark. Because once you lose that spark, believe me, somebody's going to get your attention. And we hear this all the time. So Reb Nachman says, start yearning before. You know what he says? A line that I've never forgotten. He says, I want you to do at the end what you do at the end in the beginning. You ever hear people, all of a sudden, they have tremendous, God forbid, a sickness, a stomach illness. Next thing you know, they change their whole diet. You ever hear that common term all the time? I want you to do at the end what you normally do at the end in the beginning. When people cry out and they open up at the Tehillim and they cry out to God, they do that at the end. I want you to do that in the beginning. Why are you waiting for the world to cave in on us? That's preventative medicine versus the opposite. Very important. This is what we're going to talk about here, how to articulate our yearnings. And what does it mean? Like I said before, if you speak about Breslov 101, if you talked about Reb Nachman 101, it's yearning, yearning, yearning. Keep the flame on. The logo in Breslov is a fire. It's not a cloud. It's not a cloud. That means if we're not getting something in our lives, We don't make excuses, we make adjustments. Do I want it enough? There's a great story of Rav Zusha and Rav Elimelech that they did a self-imposed exile. And all of a sudden, they ended up in some village in the middle of Poland, and there was a specific Polish guy that came, and his cart broke down. So what happens? They were exhausted from this mission. And the Polish guy asked them, do me a favor, can you help him? Can you help me out? Don't you see that I'm fallen? They say, we can't. We're exhausted. We haven't eaten. So the Polish guy told them, you can, you just don't want to. And Rav Zusha heard that line, you can, you just don't want to? And he says, I learned one of the most valuable lessons of my life. I can, I just don't want to. That's the Yetzer Hara. We can, we just don't want to. And this is something where we could take this same equation to waking up earlier to meditation, or doing the 40-day challenge, or starting to any spiritual path. You can, you just don't want to. This is where we have to develop desire. It's not really something desire, it's not something you do. It's something you have to build. You have to build that desire inside of you. Reb Nachman tells us, unfortunately, there's one thing that could kill our desire. And this we learn from the Parshas Amalek. Is that specifically for men? When we defile our brit, when we don't keep our sexual purity, that's the one thing that you lose, you cooled off. You stop wanting. This is why I encourage the men so much to cool off your impulses and heat up your vision. Look to get married. Because when you start with this world of too much physicality, you're going to get cooled off. And what happens when you get cooled off in life? You know what happens when you get cooled off? You're not going to want to get married. There you go. You're not going to want to get married. If you're cooled off, you don't want to get married. You have to be spiritually connected to want to get married. You have to want to get married. We already know getting married itself is a whole different it's a whole different world. You want to check it? But we have to want to get married. Okay, we're still on. So it's very, very, very important, this concept. The law of attraction says, whatever you're seeking is seeking you. Reb Nachman tells us this in lesson 31. Exactly. Reb Nachman writes that the main yearning that a person has is to develop his potential. We have to understand the vowels. The letters itself have no vowels. The vowels are created by a person's yearning for what he wants. I said this story many times, that before I started doing his bodedut, it took me 6 months to even develop the desire to want to do it. And I tried to do it, and nothing was coming out. Before I tried anything, any new waking up early in the morning, I couldn't just wake up and do it. I had to pray about it. I had to ask my Creator, please, allow me to do this. Allow me to do this. So it's very, very important. Before you want to try on a task, the reason why we don't get that task right away is because you want the task, but you don't have enough desire for that task. So what happens? You start something, it doesn't work out. And what do you say? It didn't work out. No. When something doesn't work out, Reb Nachman is going to tell us in lesson 66 that the obstacle that you have spiritually is very connected to your soul mission. That means if something is extremely difficult for you, it's exactly what you need to do. The resistance is telling you, like if we take a all of a sudden take a toy from a child, what is he going to do? Okay, it's okay. It didn't work out. It didn't work out. You can have the toy, Daddy. He's going to scream, "Give me back my toy!" When we get something taken away from us spiritually, you should want it more. And we know this example from two places. We know this from Pesach Sheni. There was a group of men who were not able to keep Pesach Sheni because they were defiled. And they yelled out to their Creator, Lama Nigara, why are we being deprived of being able to keep this holiday? You know what happened? The whole Torah was changed and that Pasuk was added. A holiday was added for those specific men. Do you understand the power of yearning? You have no idea the power of yearning. It's so intense. The daughters of Zelophehad, they said, why should we be deprived of being able to have a piece in Eretz Yisrael? You know what happened? The Torah added a piece for them. The Torah added the passage for them. So you're talking about two places where the Torah was changed for just a group of 10 to 15 individuals, and imagine the yearning a person has and he can get to. Just imagine the power of this yearning. And you have it inside of you, but you have to develop it. And believe me, when I'm telling this class, and I said, this is a tough class to have in Miami, because sometimes we're in a beautiful place here. We have everything. We have sun, we have a great governor, we have palm trees, we have pina coladas, coconuts, beaches, water. But we don't have yearning. We've lost the yearning sometimes. We got cold. We've checked out. What worse can be than that? Than being in a comfortable place and being checked out. What a busha to our Creator. In such a place where you don't have any struggle. You know, you're not living in Guatemala where you have to wake up and you're living in your car, park your car, you wake up in the sun rises, you can connect to your Creator. But this is what happens, unfortunately. Moshe, it's off. It's okay. Yetzer Hara is too much for this class. But the bottom line is you have to develop that yearning. You have to develop that yearning. You're going to get judged in life of not what you got, but you're going to get judged on how much did you want that specific thing. That is what we get judged on. What did you want? That is the level, Kabbalistically, we speak about, of Keter. Now, once you decide what you want, then you have to pay a big price for it. That's how it works. That's how it works. Because the obstacles are literally, it's exactly a mechanism that the obstacles itself are there to produce the yearning. And the yearning produces the vessel. You understand? So the obstacles are literally there to infuse the fuel so you can use more desire, so you can increase the vessel, so you can get what you want. So the pain and the obstacles that we're going through in this world and the struggles that we don't stop going through every day, every hour. And I know myself, the tremendous struggles I have spiritually, but those struggles are born, the desire is born from those struggles. And that's why the word ratzon, which is desire, and sinor, pipe, same gematria, same words. Imagine that. Sinor, ratzon, 350. 346 plus the 4 words. Sinor, ratzon, same words. You want to create a pipeline, you got to create desire. You got to create desire. But the worst thing is, when you see here a couple, you see them together, we lost it. We lost it. We lost the spark. We don't know if we want it anymore. You cry out. You cry out when you hear that. It's tremendously painful. Or you see when people lose the spark. They what are you going to do? How can you convince somebody? But if there's a will, you can fix a marriage. But if there's no will, that's it. It's finished. There's nothing to talk about. And when we lose that spark spiritually, it's nothing worse than it. And but Reb Nachman says, forget about the results. Don't even look at the scoreboard. Don't even look at anything. Just focus on your ratzon. That's all you should be worried. You want to get married? Focus on the desire to get married. Forget if you're having a couple bad dates. Forget if this is not going through. Forget it's that. Because again, the purpose of the obstacle is for you to increase your desire. You understand? It's working for you. That means, the resistance in life is actually helping you. It's actually helping you. It's not against you. And sometimes we look at that resistance and we want to jump out the window. We want to say, what's going on? I'm trying, I'm doing this. But what you want and the desire that you need are not matching. It's the bottom line. How are we doing, Moshe? No good? Wonderful. Okay, great. See, even a simple Facebook video, we show up early, we do this. It's not meant to happen. But this is the whole point. It's okay, Moshe, just forget this. Forget the mask. And let's. Okay, wonderful. Yeah, it's all. Okay, wonderful. Okay. So this is what Reb Nachman says in lesson 31. He's saying here a person has to long in his heart, and then the vow points are made from potential to actual. Thus, when he expresses his yearnings orally, the soul is actually actualized. So first you have to pick what you want spiritually. What you want in life. You want to be able to give more tzedakah. You want to be able to wake up earlier. You want to be able to have a better relationship with your Creator. You want to be able to have a set time in Torah. You want to wake up with more energy. You have to pick a goal. Pick something that you want. Pick the goal. Now you have to almost expect, okay, what happens if this happens? That is not negative thinking. Negative thinking means if something happens, I don't do it. No. Negative thinking means, positive thinking means, if I get this obstacle, what do I do? You understand? Negative thinking means it didn't work out, it's not for me. No, it doesn't. That doesn't exist in Rav Nachman's teachings. Rav Nachman's telling you, if there's something you have, either you didn't get it because you didn't pray for it enough, or you didn't pray for it at all. Which is basically telling you to put 100% responsibility on yourself, etc. You want Shalom Bayit in your life? You have to wake up earlier and pray for it. It's not how you think. You wake up and say, I want to have Shalom Bayit. Think it's that easy? No. You have to develop the desire for it. And remember, each of us has a specific tailor-made Yetzer Hara for specifically tailor-made your mission, where one person's struggle could be their self-esteem their whole life, another person's struggle could be taking action, another person's struggle could be immorality sexually, another person's struggle could be happiness, joy. Everybody has a tailor-made struggle according to their potential, and that potential is on the other side of the Ratzon. That's the bottom line. This is exactly what Rav Nachman is telling you. And this is why when we go to Uman, we expect losing passports. I tried to go to Uman 2 times already. I couldn't get in. Could not get in. So what am I going to do? Cry? Desire. More desire. Maybe I didn't want it enough. I thought I wanted it enough, but maybe I guess I didn't want it enough. So you have to constantly develop that constant desire. And you know what? We expect everybody else to be like this. But when it's up to us, we don't do that. And that's the problem. We expect everybody else to show up, but when it's time for us to show up, we don't normally show up so much. So whatever you expect from others, you better make sure you're doing the same exact thing. That you're doing the same exact thing. Lesson 66. Rav Nachman says, all of a person's thoughts enter into his speech. Thus we see in the Zohar, his lips whisper his thoughts. You have to be careful what you think about, because when you think about it, you're literally saying it. The Zohar says, whatever you're thinking, it's coming out. For good or bad. For good or bad. Similarly, anything that a person has to do, he has to first remember, in order for something to come into creation, you have to go through the concept of thought, speech, and action. These 3 things. You have to think about what you want, say it out, and now take action. These are the 3 things to do. Now, once you started choosing something, Rav Nachman says, then a person starts developing this kisufim. And again, to the extent of a person's desire, particularly, heaven creates an obstacle directly correlated. All of a sudden, a person wants to keep Shabbat in his house. His wife says, take all of this and throw it out the window. I don't have anything to do with this. Welcome to the obstacle. That means if you're not getting an obstacle doing something, you have a problem. You have a problem. If you're going to an engagement and you're having a situation with a couple, you're trying to get together and trying to engage, expect to get pricked by a rose. You'll get the rose, but you're going to get pricked by a thorn. Nothing good has to come easy, remember. Because we just said, sinor, pipeline, and ratzon. I have to have the struggle because the desire is what creates the vessel. Rav Nachman says this in lesson 185. This is because the toil that you go through creates the toil. The greater the toil and struggle, the greater the vessel that he later receives, in which he could receive bounty. Imagine you're going through a business and you're going through all this headaches and you learn so much in your business and all this breaks and that gets fixed. All of that work ends up becoming a vessel in which, in order to receive blessing. And this is exactly the story of our lives. When you feel like giving up, it's time to turn it up. Anytime you're giving up, it's telling you the obstacle that you're getting is much greater than your desire. And this is why it's very important. Simon Sinek says something beautiful. He says, hard work. If you're not passionate about hard work, it's called stress. But if you work hard and you're passionate, it's called passion. So the difference between stress and passion, they both require hard work, but one you enjoy. Person has a passionate business. He's in a business, he's passionate. It's extremely hard work, but at least he gets passion out of it. He's passionate about it. Even though he's killing himself, he's passionate about it. But if there's something you're doing when you're giving a lot of hard work and you don't like what you're doing, that's called stress. And that's pretty much the difference between two people. Stress versus passion. Your relationship to that obstacle in life. So don't expect things to be too easy when you're doing something good. And I can't tell you how much people, when they start dating, they start having relationship issues. She has a dog, no good. You're lucky that's all she has. I have 3 dogs. You're lucky it's only 1 dog. Or her aunt is from Persian, and Persians they don't like your food. Okay, that's all it is. That's an easy obstacle. But you see people come up with obstacles. They're meant to be worked through, these obstacles. And it's not like you marry somebody and you get a free gift and you get a stimulus package the whole life. No. In that marriage also then has to be another development. Rabbi Rush says, whoever you marry, it doesn't matter who you marry. If you work on yourself, you're going to be happy. If you don't work on yourself, you're going to be miserable. It doesn't matter if you're married to Ashkenazi, Sephardic, Moroccan. Who cares what it is? Bottom line, if you put your effort in and you humble yourself, you let things go, you're going to have a happy marriage. If you're with a wonderful person, but you don't let things go, and you're not happy in the marriage, and you criticize it, you're going to have a lousy marriage. That's the formula. That's the formula. Who cares who you marry? You have to be attracted. You have to like them. They have to be something. But at the end of the day, that struggle is there. That struggle is there. I mean, you have to understand that. And this is where the illusion is. I'm not feeling it. Don't worry, you'll feel it soon. We have to understand that. And this is with anything. Stop worrying about feelings. Worry about feelings afterwards. Don't worry about feelings before. The greatest feeling in life is to be able to accomplish something and get rewards from your own hands than to receive a free gift. That's the greatest reward in life, is to be able to work for something and get it, and it stays with you. When you do something, you work for it, it stays with you. But the whole world is looking for I need a handout. I need this. I need that. Those don't last. It's called the bread of shame, which is the opposite of the struggle. The opposite of the struggle is the bread of shame, wanting something for free in life. Our ultimate goal is to turn our meniot, which is our obstacles, into neimot, into pleasure. That is what Rav Nathan says. You have to turn the meniot, the obstacles, into pleasure. And to recognize that same obstacle is where the pleasure is. Not the illusion that the pleasure is somewhere else. No, the pleasure is in the obstacle. When you're present, you recognize it's all one, then you can get everything you want. Then there's no question about, what am I going to do? I remember when I started waking up at 3 o'clock in the morning to do Hatzot, my wife's like, what are you doing? You're crazy. You're nuts. You're this. I'll say, you're right. Maybe I'm too crazy. I'm not going to do it. And then I had to develop the desire. Please, I want to do it. 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 And she says, why are you not waking up anymore? I thought you didn't want me to do it. And then I ended up doing it. When you get turned down, that's where you start. That's where the work begins. The rejection is where the work begins. The work begins. And that's not outer work. It's inner work to see what you want. What does rejection do for you? And I could tell you when a person, and this is something that my uncle told me when I was younger. It says the beginning of the sale is when the customer says no. They would program us. The beginning of the sale is when the customer says no. Personally, do I think people have the koach for this? I don't know. It's a good question. Because the struggle is real. There's a tremendous struggle getting to spirituality. The struggle is real. There's so many ups and downs. There's so many mood swings. But the reward you get at the end of it is worth everything. But to get to the reward, to get to the person where a person feels that connection with his creator, it's not going to come easy. It doesn't come for free. There's no stimulus, there's no PPE loans, there's nothing to that. You have to want it. And wanting it, this is why Reb Nathan's prayers, he had the 50th gate. All the prayer talks about is yearning. I want to get to this level. I want to get to this level. I want to get to this level. And the more you repeat something, the more you desire it, the more you want it. And this is what Reb Nachman says. The barrier is for the sake of the desire. so that he will have a greater desire to do that thing, since the barrier that keeps him from something greatly increases his desire for it. For example, if somebody shows a child an object and he likes the object, and then immediately you grab the child the object. Give a kid a piece of candy, take it away right away. And you're going to see that child yelling and screaming for that piece of candy. And you know what you have to do? That is you. That's exactly how we have to be. When something gets taken away from us, you have to cry out like a child wanting it back. That's exactly the intensity that your Creator wants in those things. But you would figure that we would all do that. But somehow life has knocked us down a little bit. Life has knocked us down a little bit. And we stop wanting. We stop wanting things anymore. We stop putting that hour. We stop waking up early and getting excited to build desire. This is why when you know this Torah, you don't even focus on the object. You don't focus on the scoreboard, because you're recognizing, I'm busy building a vessel. I'm busy building a vessel wanting. So when you start recognizing that, it's only about the vessel. I'm not even interested in the lights, because I know if I have a 2-ounce vessel, what do you think I'm going to get? 2 ounces. But when I have a vessel that's 10 ounces, I get 10 ounces. So the smart people, like for example, Jeff Bezos, you just take example, 7 years Amazon did not make money. He didn't care. He didn't care. He was building Amazon. What a big vessel Amazon is. I don't care about stockholders. I don't care if we make money or not. I'm busy building a vessel. Busy building a vessel through wherever he did. Smart people, they focus on the vessel. People that chase, they're looking only for the light. Only for light. I just want light. I want light. What happens? One thing goes wrong, boom, crash. Crash. Which is called shvirat hakeli, a breaking of the vessel. Basically, what is failure today? Too much light without an appropriate vessel. That's failure. That's failure 101. It's too much light without the appropriate vessel. And this is a very, very important message. And the best way to develop your desires is definitely through meditation and hisbodedut. I started the daf. You think I can just wake up in the morning and listen to a daf? I had to pray. I had to want to do it. I had to create a desire to do it. And then it came to me. And I attracted that. You understand? You want to be able to give tzedakah on a bigger level. You have to pray for it. You have to want it. Being in recovery, 101. You want to stay clean. You think a person can just stay clean? Think it's that easy? He's got to put the same effort to stay clean that he does to use. If it's not the same effort, he's not going to be clean. But God gave him the power of desire, because you could see when he desires drugs, what he will do for it. He will find a way to get whatever he wants. So the fact that God gave you that potential, you're just not using it the right way. You're using it the wrong way. That's the problem. That's the problem with this. So you have to start looking at obstacles, and you have to say, kiss your obstacles. They're expanding your vessel. They're making it bigger. But when we take a look at these obstacles and we take them personally, that is the biggest form of arrogance and a lack of dat. Who am I? Who am I to tell my Creator, when my Creator is expanding my vessels, I'm telling him, why are you punishing me? Who am I to tell my Creator that? That's when you lack knowledge, you view the obstacle as a punishment. And then you check out. That's the worst thing you could do. That's the worst thing. That's arrogance. That means you didn't want it enough. So you come up with an excuse. But when you recognize that obstacle is a blessing from your Creator, because he wants you to build your vessel, he wants to give you more. But right now, if he gives it to you right now, it'll break. So he can't give it to you right now. He wants you to put more grind into it. Then you have a whole different relationship with God. You have a whole different relationship with your Creator. You look at everything from him as love. And the greatest thing about this is it puts all the effort on the solution. That means, I'm not getting it, I need to push stronger. I need to push. And sometimes you have to pray to push. Because sometimes we feel, Rav Nathan says in his prayers, I feel like a pregnant woman ready to give birth, but I don't have any strength to push. Sometimes you have to pray to push. Sometimes that could be the prayer. I can't push anymore. I have no strength to push. Pray to push. Imagine a woman, right away she's giving birth, she says, I don't want to push anymore. In the 9th month. Before she yells at her husband. She has to push it out. And I'm telling you right now, nothing of mine came easy. Nothing of mine came easy. But my attitude towards these obstacles, I start thanking my Creator for them. I start closing my eyes. And I find a way to constantly push. And what I've seen in my life, in all areas of my life, when I've done this, I've seen big rewards. And when I've quit, I've seen nothing. But once I understood and I changed my realization to it, that by the way, it's not that you have, like we just spoke about before, you're tailor-made. Your obstacle and another person's obstacle is completely different. We have some people that they need their wives to wake them up in the morning. Other people, their wives are completely different. His obstacle is he can't stop talking back. That's his obstacle. One guy's obstacle is everything's related. Person should know when a barrier keeps him from doing something holy, that it's very great, it is an indication that the desired goal is both very great and very valuable. And this is the reason why the barrier is very great. This is particularly so he can able to get to what he needs to get to his soul. We know people are Anger's Anonymous. That's their whole struggle, their whole life to break their anger. They have to cry out to break their anger. Their whole life is based on anger. Their whole struggle is anger. They have to cry out for this. Another guy, he can't make a decision. Whatever happens, he can't make a decision, no matter what. Indecisions about indecisions. His whole struggle has to be able to make that decision and have the courage. Another guy is to be able to get over the past. That's his stopping. To not bring old business into new business. Everybody, I don't have that. I'm very resilient, but I have other issues. Completely. We all have a tailor-made issue. And usually it's very connected to your birthday, the sign you are. If it's your water sign, you're very emotional. That's where your biggest pain usually is with emotions. Emotions in excess. That's your headache. If you're a fire sign, it's usually your ego and anger. That's probably where your obstacles are in life. Cooling off. If it's earth, your whole struggle in life usually is emunah, fighting faith, because you're so logical and you can't think outside the box. If it's air, no commitment. You're ghosting your creator. You're ghosting everybody. Being able to settle down and make decisions. That's air. You could know by your birthday, your tendency, where your weakness is. Rav Nachman says, lesson 67, that every single bad character trait or struggle comes from the 4 elements, which is all rooted in God's name. Yud Kei Vav Kei. Every one of the 4 elements. Yes. Lesson 67, the second half, Rav Nachman says that all our bad character traits stem from earth, fire, water, and air. And they're all connected to God's name. We know water is connected. I believe water is Yud. Hay is fire, which is Bina. The middle one is air, and the last one is earth. The last Hay is earth, which is an earth sign, which they struggle a lot with happiness and being able to get over the past and all that. Again, everybody has a whole different thing. But just to give you a hint of where your struggle is, that is where you're rewarded. It's not everybody gets the same toy, bottom line. We all get a different struggle. And this is where you build kesuf, and please help me, God, with my emotions. Please help me. Scorpio, he's got it all day long. Please help me with my emotions. Please let me not take things personal. Please let me let go. Please let me not stop resenting. Please let me stop. All day long is his work is to do that. He has to struggle all day long for this. It's a struggle. If he works on himself, he gets the positivity of the other side. Doesn't work on himself, he's a slave to his emotions. All day long, emotions. This one insulted me. That one insulted me. This one did that to me. All day long, it becomes the center of attraction. And this is what Reb Nachman says. You have to turn the neimot into meniot. You have to turn the obstacle into pleasure. The neimot, you have to turn the obstacle, which is the neimot, the meniot, into pleasure. And the way you do that is through desire. Desire is what makes things move. Reb Nachman also says in lesson 31 that desire itself creates a pregnant. For example, you have a mission that you want to do. And you have a very lofty mission. Hashem will give you a piggyback soul of, let's say, your grandfather or a tzaddik to help you do that soul. A person's desire is so great that he develops a soul. Even the Holy Arizal says you could be married to somebody who's not your soulmate. And because you guys work on the relationship so much, that person will get a piggyback of your original soulmate. Can you imagine that? You're never out of the game. You'll get the piggyback of the soulmate. That means the person who wasn't your soulmate becomes your soulmate because she ends up getting a piece of the, it's called a neshama ibor. It's called the piggy. You know, you get the piggyback batteries? It's a piggyback soul. A spark of a soul from somebody else. This is when people say, I'm having a breakthrough in my life. What do you think? Breakthrough what? You gotta, your desire was so great, you got a spark of something else. This is why you can't give up. Giving up it's only an illusion. And the way you look at it, unfortunately, the way you look at the challenge is completely changes everything. Be passionate about your challenges. But I'm going to tell you the truth. It's extremely, extremely difficult. And it has to be that way. It has to be that way. That's the understanding is, this is the only way it has to be. Because again, easy doesn't create desire. Desire doesn't create the vessel. The vessel, what am I going to get? So it has to be that way. You know, when we look at you have a trainer. He purposely gets your weak space. He makes you do things you wouldn't do on your own. He's not punishing you. He's strengthening you. And this is the same relationship we need to have with absolutely everything. And it's such an important lesson, how you view struggles, how you view blockages. So this is why Reb Nachman advises, spend a half an hour by yourself. And you tell me you have no time to spend a half an hour, you have no time to spend by yourself, then you must have no desires, no goals, because how are you going to develop them? Where are you going to develop them? Watching unorthodox, eating Ben and Jerry's? Where are you going to develop these? Now everybody could save the calories on the Ben and Jerry's, Baruch Hashem. Hashem did rachamim on the whole world. Where are you going to develop these? Who's going to develop? Where are you going to develop all of these things? How are you going to develop them? How are you going to develop them? You need to develop them. That's why you need his bodhidut. That's why, because in his bodhidut, that's the prime place where you talk exactly about the struggle that you're going for at that moment. The struggle lately is distraction. Way too distracted. Please, God, I can't. I'm too distracted. Give me peace of mind. That's my current goal right now, is to have less distractions. And that's what I pray for. Please give me every single day. Please give me distractions. Please have more clarity. Please. And then eventually you get it. Eventually it comes to you. You have to come to it. This is the only way. Pick what you want. Pay the price. And go all in. That is the recipe for absolutely anything. Whatever it is. You can't say it's not meant to be. No. Whatever it is. Now, sometimes a person gets a breakup in a relationship. And that person could have been a good mate for them. And they really wanted to get married. So that could have been the obstacle for you to develop to really want to get married. So even that's for the best also. It could be a failure in a relationship to want to say, you know what I tasted, I want to taste it again. That could make you want something more. But never should we sit there and walk. Remember, we're walking into Rosh Hashanah 40 days from now, 60 days, I don't even know, 50 days from now. You're there to crown the king. On Rosh Hashanah, we're there to crown our Creator. We're not there to say, look at the year you gave me. Look at the lemons you gave me. This is not what we want. You want to walk around praising your Creator and saying, thank you for this obstacle. 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 Thank you for this. And if there's something that obstacle is too much, you have to question and ask yourself, is this something you really want? Because if you want it enough, you would get it. It's just a matter of time and a matter of pushing, Because your Creator never gives you something you can't handle, but He will always give you something to work on. He will always give you something to work on because of growth. And those that have checked out and don't want to work on anything, and they said bye-bye, don't worry, he'll get you he'll wake you up on the midnight flight. Somehow you're getting on that plane. You can travel first class, or you're gonna get there. You'll come with the luggage maybe, but you're gonna get there. That's why your Creator never gives up on us. This is why you have to have a very, very co-creator mindset and not a victim mindset. Forget blaming people, forget excuses, forget everything. But I promise you, when I'm able to wake up every morning and pray that hour, that came with so much effort to get there. But once I did that, it changed my whole life. Once I started praying every single day, it changed my whole life. Once I do it changed my whole life. These things that I worked for changed my whole life across the board. Across the board. So what you get is a life-changing thing from that work that you do. Any questions so far? Yes.
Sometimes the struggles and obstacles that are God's way of telling you that you're going in one direction, and if you push too hard and get it, even if it's not right for you, how do you differentiate?
Spiritual obstacles, impossible. Spiritual, sometimes obstacles are telling God you're heading in the wrong direction. Not spiritual obstacles. Not possible. But Nachman says, not possible. There's no way a spiritual obstacle, God, I don't want you to pray for me. No, maybe you're meant to, maybe a person's not ready for you. You know, unfortunately, I have people in my rehab center that they think they want to get married to each other. It's not the right time right now to get married to each other. You know, like I said, you don't pick up a business partner in bankruptcy court. You don't find somebody in bankruptcy court that says, you know what, I want to start a business with you. That doesn't mean that's not having that. That's specific, right? So sometimes He'll show us in another area we're not ready for that goal, what we want. Many times you want to open up a business, but you have no organization. You have no idea how to open up a business. Why do we pay people more money in life? We pay them more money for experience because they've already went through the headaches already. This is why you pay somebody more money, because he's already gone through the obstacle, the breaking for a reason. So it's not done at your expense. But the worst thing in life, again, is to get the obstacle and not have the right attitude and not saying it's happening for you, saying it's happening to you. That's where your self-esteem gets destroyed. That is the worst part, is not seeing that obstacle and feeling that you're not worthy of it. God's not going to give it to you. You're not good enough, or you ran over a bird the other day and you don't deserve to be connected. Whatever you got, people come up in their heads, God's not going to give it to me. That's impossible. Impossible. And this is exactly what the whole point is. The whole point is that even if a person has his own family telling him, what are you doing, etc., it is not exactly what's causing the vessel. That's the paradox is the struggle is creating the light. You understand? The struggle is creating the light, which is completely opposite thinking of today's world. If it's not safe, I don't want to deal with it. This is the mentality today that we've been accustomed to, a very low tolerance for pain. Pain, I need to go away. Instead of take that pain and become growth. And again, this is not easy, but living a life of just bowing down to obstacles is not, that's not the answer also. That can't be the option either. Because you know what happens? What's worse than pain? Regret. What's pain worse than that? Regrets. And I've seen people take the 40-day challenge and they failed 7 times, 8 times. Keep on moving. Doesn't matter. Increase the desire. Increase the desire. Increase the desire. That's exactly what we need to do. This is the method for any spiritual goal, marriage, etc., across the board. Even this guy, Pierce Steele, he wrote a book on motivation, the motivation equation. And he basically he wrote a book on motivation. What's the key elements? How does the person become motivated, and what causes them not to become motivated? This has nothing to do with Rav Nachman. This is straight science on motivation. And the answer was motivation equals expectancy, which is your faith, your confidence in something, times your value. how much you want it. Desire. Confidence and desire. That's what pushes you to the goal. Confidence and desire is what gets you more into that goal. Because a confident person recognizes he's going to fail, and he recognizes what to do when he fails. What stops you from that goal? What decreases that vision? Impulsivity. Being too impulsive. Believe it or not, this is a big issue today. We're very impulsive. We start something on the phone. On the phone. Wake up. And delay, which is procrastination, fear. So impulsivity and delay are stealing your goals. Stealing them. You're getting robbed. How do you push? This is why we have to recognize that we are going to be impulsive and we do delay. But let me do that in the middle of the day. I can't do that at 7 in the morning, 6 in the morning, and start being impulsive and delaying. Because then nothing's going to happen. I don't mind. You're a human being. You're going to be on your phone. You're going to relax. You're going to do this. No problem. But pick an hour for that. Pick an hour. Okay? As long as I don't do anything after 10 o'clock. 10 o'clock, I'll be as impulsive, but at least I'll feel accomplished that I got 4 hours in of good work, good production, good. I didn't wake up with an impulsive reaction, Ben & Jerry's, this one, ba, 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 ba. That's what I'm trying to explain to the whole world. Stop getting angry about these things, because this is a distraction. This is a distraction to your life. We already have enough stress. We need more stress to our lives already that's going on already. So this is what I'm trying to explain to you. The key is expectancy and value, confidence and desire get you where you need to go. And what kills you is the impulsivity and delay. Those are the things that we have to become less impulsive. Because what happens is in life, we have a certain amount of willpower. Just like you have a phone. You have a phone that has a certain amount of willpower. And that battery drains, and that drains, and that drains, and that drains, little by little. And next thing you know, if it's like, oh my God, it's 8:30 and I'm like 10% battery. We have a problem. Because you have the whole day to go. And when we have low willpower, we end up going straight into food, escape, etc. So we really need a lot of impulsive. We have to be careful with the impulsivity. You could be impulsive, you're a human being, but pick a time for it. And then at night, you have to also pick a time to go to sleep. The mornings and the nights, you have to be able to win in your life. You have to win the mornings and you have to win the night. Because if you're not winning in the mornings, if you're waking up, watching things 12:30, 1 o'clock, you're waking up exhausted. Then another impulsivity, delay. Here we go, 9 o'clock. What's happening? I don't know. Did you hear about Ben & Jerry's? Did you hear about this? Great. But what did you accomplish that day? What did you accomplish that day? That's what you have to be careful for. That's why I'm against getting extra distraction. Pick a time for it. Pick a time for the distractions. Pick a time. 2 o'clock to 5 o'clock. Distract yourself all day long. But at least you feel good that something came accomplished. Versus just being distracted the whole day. And just being on reactive mode instead of creative mode. And it's funny, creation and reaction have the exact same letters. Creation, reaction, same exact letters. You're either creating or you're reacting. Pick a time to create, pick a time to react, and then go back to create again. That is really the winning recipe.
Reaction destroys, the one creates, one destroys, right?
Yeah, creation. I'm creating. I wake up in the morning, I'm creating desires. But if I'm getting constantly impulsive and delaying, and I'm just impulsively because I don't want to deal with things, then my willpower gets depleted. And then the whole day becomes a reaction. And then when you just react the whole day, what can you accomplish those days? And this is something we're very prone to. There's a lot of stuff going on, but you have to manage your time to be able to develop, to be able to create, goals, and to be able to develop your spirituality, and to be able to develop, God willing, where you need to develop Him. And that's one of the things that I have very strict ritual. In the mornings, I know what time, don't bother me, etc. 5 o'clock, 6 o'clock, don't bother me with the phone. That's it. 8 o'clock, 9 o'clock, 10 o'clock, go to sleep, etc. I'm not up at 1 o'clock in the morning on watching news and destroy my whole future. I'll destroy my whole future doing that. And this is where we all have to take and understand this. Your life will change when you get a grip on this stuff. Because you want to start developing things, you need energy. We can't have energy if we're distracted the whole time. Have a great day. Any questions?